Welcome back to more Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. Last time, we made it to Yogurt Yard, so this time, we're going to make our way through the rest of this area. Over here is stage 5, and we have another forest area. So first of all, we want to go over here and drop down to find this hidden door. Through here, we have a high jump enemy and a fire enemy. We can use high jump to break those blocks, and now that the way to the cannon is clear, we can light the fuse and make our way to the cannon. And here's another switch. So, if you accidentally defeat one of the enemies, or if one of them goes off screen, you can simply leave that room and re-enter to respawn both enemies. So you do have multiple chances at getting to that switch, which is good, because I remember struggling a lot with that on my first playthrough. So that warp star took us to a very different looking area. We have this building with a fire enemy and a sword enemy, and over here we have another mini-boss. This is Fire Lion. Overall, Fire Lion isn't too difficult to defeat and gives us burning. So we went from fire to burning. Actually, probably should have stuck with fire for something later on, but oh well. Here we have a fairly dangerous area. We have plenty of enemies and very low barriers, so we have to kind of stick low while trying to avoid a ton of enemies in the meantime, so that was a little bit scary. Before we go to stage 6, I want to make a detour to this door. Arena. Battle for maximum tomatoes and copy abilities. So, you can find these arenas in different levels, and these allow you to fight mini-bosses. This is very good in the case of Bonkers here, because it's very difficult to actually get Hammer outside of a few stages, so it's good that there's a place where you can consistently get Hammer, especially because we do need it for something later on. So now let's head over to stage 6. Here, we want to hold on to Hammer as long as possible, which is easier said than done. We're starting out with this area with a ton of wheelies. There was a full heal there, thankfully, if we had taken damage. But the toughest part about this is simply holding onto your power-up, trying to carefully pick it back up if you drop it, which is sometimes easier said than done in some of the more hectic areas like that. Alright, so now we're in this area. We have a bomb block and a bunch of stone enemies falling towards us, so let's carefully run over here. There's a sword enemy we want to jump over in order to make it to the next area. And here, we have a falling Waddle Dee, so they are definitely not making it easy to actually keep Hammer in the stage. But now that we're here, we can break these metal blocks, and then there are several regular blocks to destroy, and if we get through all these, there's a secret door. Thankfully, we don't need to be as careful about holding onto Hammer from now on. If we do drop it, we can easily get it back in time for later secrets. This is probably one of the tougher switches to get as a result. And next up is the boss of level 5. This is Heavy Mole. So Heavy Mole attacks with these little digger arms, and we have to carefully attack the main body of this mech while dodging the arms. Overall, this fight isn't too difficult. If you drop your power-up, you can inhale those missiles to actually get another power-up. I would like to hold on to hammer even though we don't have to. There are other ways to go about finding certain secrets even if we do drop it. We can also break these blocks with hammer, so we need to be a little bit careful about that because I'm pretty sure we could lose a life if we fall. And here's the 5th piece of the Star Rod. Next up is level 6, Orange Ocean. We're starting out with an underwater area, and it's very good that we have hammer since we can use this underwater. Through here we have an optional mini-boss with Fan, but because I want to stick with hammer, I'm going to skip that fight. If we drop hammer, like that, we do have another way to get hammer back within this stage, and this level is actually kind of interesting. Orange Ocean is the only level where every stage has a switch, so it's one of the tougher levels to actually complete. Here, there are 2 spark enemies that will automatically give you a hammer through a mix, so that's why I wasn't too concerned about dropping hammer, because it's very easy to get it back in time to get to this switch. So yeah, Orange Ocean is going to be very interesting because we have to be on the lookout for a lot more secrets than the previous areas. I dropped hammer again. Overall, I would have liked to have held on to it, but it's not too big of a deal. We actually need a similar power-up later on, but we can get it within the next stage, so it's not too big of a deal if we drop it here. So, stage 2 is right over here. And Orange Ocean is probably one of my favorite areas visually. I really like the sunset aesthetic for this level. I like sunset levels in games in general, actually. We actually need this heal, so I'm glad I got that. I'm dropping my power up there on purpose so I could easily get stone without accidentally picking up sword again, because we do need sword for something soon, actually. I'm going to be very careful here, because if we drop stone, there's no way to get another similar power-up until basically the end of the stage, and then basically replaying the stage. So I am trying to be as careful as possible because there aren't really many other options to get a similar power-up without having to replay this. So once we make it to this door, there's this post that we can hit with either stone or hammer in order to reach this hidden door with another switch. And ice physics. I don't think we've actually seen ice physics yet. They can be a little bit annoying in this game, but overall aren't too bad. I think we'll be seeing ice physics a little bit more, so that'll be interesting once we get to that point. Now we don't have to worry about holding on to stone though, so we can actually, relax a bit. I actually might switch over to Tornado because I think that'll be good for getting through a couple of areas in this stage. There are 2 Gordos and a Scarfy, or 2 Scarfies actually. So yeah, Tornado is a good pick for this. I actually don't need the heal, so I wasn't too concerned about the Maximum Tomato. I actually do find it really difficult to get the tomatoes that the Poppy Bro Jr. enemies are riding on top of. And with that, we've reached the end of another stage. So, stage 3 is right here. And it looks like we have another pretty sunset background as we go across this ship. So we have these little sails here. I like the little swaying effect on them. It's honestly kind of impressive what they were able to accomplish on the Game Boy Advance, and especially the NES. Kirby's Adventure was a fairly late NES game, and it shows. It actually looks really pretty, even though the graphics definitely are not necessarily worth the trade-off of performance, in my opinion. So we had another fight with Bonkers, which is very convenient because we do need Hammer to break through that. So yeah, it's basically just the one stage that doesn't give you Hammer when you need it. Most stages are pretty good about giving you some way to actually complete everything without having to worry about like backtracking to earlier stages. So we have this little hidden area, we have these little passageways we can go through, and we need laser, so we need to go through this right door and carefully pick up laser from that enemy, and then swim out here. So from here, we have to go to the left door now, and we have a cannon. So the fuse is in water, so we actually need laser. And here's another switch. So yeah, in general, I do feel like even though there are plenty of switches in this particular stage, or in this particular level, at least it's a little bit easier to have the necessary power-ups, compared to in the previous level. Alright, so we're climbing to the top of this ship here, and over here we have a warp star. And now we're over here. Again, I really like that background. This was also a fairly early Game Boy Advance title, so I'm actually kind of surprised at how well this game holds up visually, given its age. I could actually probably use the lasers to break those explosives that are falling if I angle that correctly like that. So, stage 4 is up next. And we have more falling explosives to worry about, first of all. We have a Scarfy there, and these little enemies that are kind of tricky to deal with. So let's stay out of the water and make our way over to this door. Because I don't have a power-up, I actually find it a little bit tricky to break through some of these blocks. I actually could use this heal, and even though there's a spike there, I think it was worth the risk. Sometimes I feel like power-ups and extra lives and things like that are hidden in such a way that you end up losing a life in the process of trying to pick this up, so it's not necessarily worth it, but in other cases, I think it's worth going after some of the heals and 1-ups if they're not too difficult to reach. So we actually have to break the bomb blocks, probably with beam. So I don't think we can actually get those. We have a few Gordos here, which isn't great with having to swim through here, and we have a hidden passageway right below this little structure. And that's hiding another switch. It's been a while since I've played Adventure, but I feel like secrets like this were a lot more hidden in the NES version. In this version, a lot of the secrets feel a lot more obvious, which I think is good, especially on the Game Boy Advance where the screen is much smaller, so it helps that everything is a little bit more clear. Alright, we have a Waddle Dee and a Waddle Doo with parasols, so let's swap over, and it's a good thing we did because we have a lot of these little falling, exploding, objects here. I guess those are supposed to be coconuts. I'm not entirely sure why they explode, though. Either way, let's carefully run under all of these with our umbrella and make it to the goal. And over here is stage 5. We have quite the change in scenery, which was kind of hinted at on the overworld. We went from a very sunny tropical area to a snowy area, so yeah, quite the change in scenery. I really like this music though. This is probably one of my favorite Kirby themes that isn't regularly used, because I can't really think of many other examples of the song coming up in other Kirby games, but it's really pretty. So much Kirby music gets reused that I feel like I like a lot of the songs that are a lot more rare. And yeah, aesthetically I do like this area, even though I'm not the biggest fan of ice physics in games, and I'm pretty sure this level has ice physics. Overall, I feel like Kirby's movement makes it not too bad, but it can be a little bit frustrating at times, trying to get through certain areas with ice physics. So for this, we need fire. We need to break that bomb block there and this one over here. Once we do that, the goal is right over here. But first of all, we need to go through the first gap in order to find this fuse. This is actually one of the tougher cannons to reach because it's kind of a specific timing window to actually get over here. I'm honestly surprised I got that first try, but here's the final switch of Orange Ocean. And with that, all that's left is to head back out and go to the goal, once we wait for that enemy to go by. So, next time, we'll finish up Orange Ocean and see what's next. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland.